thanks everyone for coming out and listening to this webinar. Today we're going to be looking at smart sourcing with Epicor, managing urgent supply across manufacturing and purchasing. So let's hop into it. So our safe harbor statement, just the standard select information. I'll leave that on there for a second. Okay, so Precise, yep, so I work for Precise. Precise is a global company, really with 30 years this year is the anniversary. So I'm looking forward to a special Christmas, I hope. We're a certified partner. We've got our own products as well. Bit about me, for those that don't know, I'm Darren, and I've had a large experience in mainly the electronic manufacturing, as in hands-on. Obviously, while I've been working in Precise for the last 6 years, I've gained experience in a lot of different manufacturing fields. On the personal side, yep, I'm still a kid at heart, love riding motorbikes on the weekend. And I also still like to dabble in electronics. I'm constantly fixing things. When someone's electronics in the family is broken, I'm the person to go to. Bit like if you're an IT person, everyone thinks that you can fix it. But I still enjoy it and have great fun with it. So today's agenda, really going to explore Epicor's planning parameters, especially the stuff that came out in version 2025.1, where it empowers businesses to respond dynamically to urgent supply needs by being able to intelligently switch between suppliers and manufacturing methods. Look, why does it matter? The customer's expectations for rapid delivery are increasing, although I think customer expectations have always been wanting to be rapid, to tell you the truth. Supplier chain disruptions, so that we can have flexibility sourcing strategies. Now Epicor offers a versatile planning logic to meet urgent demand beyond just supplier switching. What are we going to do? What are we learning today? Well, we're going to do 4 different real world scenarios. The first will be an urgent supplier, where Epicor will use a secondary supplier when a lead time is violated. Now, this functionality was previously available in before 2025.1. So you've always had like a primary supplier and an urgent supplier. And if the lead time was violated, I mean, the primary couldn't meet it, it would switch over immediately to the urgent supplier. So now they've taken that kind of functionality, and they've moved it so that you can actually change it to a like if it's a manufactured part, normally and if it was lead time was violated, it would become a purchase item. And same with the manufacturing to subcontract, it'll swap between manufacturing methods, so that basically you could utilize a subcontract operation to get it in faster, because your in-house manufacturing has got a capacity restraint against the say the painting booth, because for 2 weeks you're just capacity is just at max, whereas there's a guy around the corner who's got a painting booth and it's not used at night and he likes a bit of overtime and he can fit it in. Purchasing the manufacturing, so whereas you normally buy it, but again, if it's lead times shorter than what the supplier can do, you've got the tools in-house, you can actually do it in-house, so it'll turn into a manufacturing part. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So let's go through the different scenarios. So this is our first scenario, which hopefully everyone's seen and played with previously, and that's a purchase part with urgent supply backup. So this is a primary supplier is used under normal conditions. If the required date violates the lead time, so the lead time of the supplier, Epicor will switch to the secondary supplier, which is flagged as urgent, and we'll have a look at that in a sec. So an example of this is a fastener is normally sourced from supplier A with 10 days. A customer order requires it in 3 days. Obviously, there's a violation there of the lead times. So Epicor is going to switch it to the urgent supplier. So let's have a look at it just quickly, what that looks like in Epicor, how you set it up. So if we have a look at the part, and I go to urgent supply. So this is my urgent supplier part. Okay, so this is my urgent supplier part. We come into the site and we have a look at the planning. We can see that the purchasing, there's a 10-day lead time. The primary supplier is primary. And the urgent planning is listed as the urgent type is purchasing. And the lead time is going to be 2, and we're going to get it from the urgent supplier. Okay, so that's how the setup is. And then if you have a look at now I've already run MRP, so we'll see what the output of the MRP is in relation to what the setup we've put here. So if I go to time phase for urgent supplier, you can see that there's quite rightly, there's just 2 suggestions that are being created. One for the 20th of the 10th, which is obviously really soon, and one for out there further on the horizon. And so this one here should be the primary, and this should be the urgent supplier. So looking at the PO suggestions, so it's created them. I've got the PO suggestions opened here. So these are some of the PO suggestions, all related to what we're talking to today. And what you can see for the part urgent supplier, which is the one that we're looking at now, the one that is required on the 20th of the 10th, lead time violation, it switched over to the urgent supplier. Whereas the other one, which is required out in the future, no lead time violation, so it's coming from the primary supplier. So, MRP will dynamically look at it and go, hey, lead time violation, switch over to the urgent supplier or keep primary. So that's the first scenario. So that's what was standard before 2025.1. And then the next scenario, manufacturing part with a purchase backup. This is where the new functionality came in 2025.1. So with this one, we normally manufacture it in-house. So there's a method of manufacture to manufacture it in-house. If demand is inside the lead time, then it's going to suggest to switch it over to a purchase part instead. So yeah, the alternative source is set to a supplier. So the example that we're going to look at is it's a brackets. It's usually machined in-house. A rush order requires 3 days. We can't do it in-house within 3 days. But so Epicor suggests that we get it from our preferred supplier. So let's have a look at how we set this up. Coming back to the part. Manufactured part with purchase backup. So manufacturing to purchase. That's my part. And we'll have a look at its setup. So go back into sites and go back into planning. And if we have a look, so it is a manufactured part. So normally we'd be manufacturing it. Lead time there is 14 days. But if we can't do it within 14 days, what it's going to do is it's going to switch over to an urgent type, which is purchasing. So we'll be buying it, and we'll be buying it from our urgent supplier. Clearly, I made it urgent supplier because it just makes it easy when you look at it, look at the information. So let's now have a look at the time phase for this one. It should start to make quite a bit of sense. So manufacturing to purchasing. Okay. So usually it's manufactured. So anything that's out, that's beyond the lead time, it's going to be manufactured. So the one that's out here, the 28th and 11th, that's plenty of time to manufacture it. So that's exactly what we're doing. We've got a job that's been created by MRP to say, go ahead and manufacture 3 of them. And the one that's violated the lead time again, 20th of the 10th, it's got to look at the urgent planning. It looked at the urgent planning. It said, hey, I need to purchase this. And so there's a suggestion to actually go procure it. So if we have a look at the PO suggestions for this one, manufacturing to purchase. Manufacturing to purchase. Yeah, you can see that there is a PO suggestion, like we just saw, and it's for the urgent supplier. Let's have a look. So yeah, you can see here the PO suggestion, which will obviously turn into a purchase order once we process it. It's coming from the urgent supplier, so it's picked that accordingly. Let's close that. Let's have a look at the third one. The third scenario. Oops. Getting a bit. Okay, let's have a look at the third scenario. There we go. So this is going to be a manufactured part. We normally do this in-house, but if the lead time is, if it's wanted too early and the lead time again's been violated, then what it's going to do is it's going to go to an alternative method, which we've set up to, that part of this method is a subcontract backup, subcontract operation. So that's what the alternative method will be. Okay, so example that we're going to do, it's a metal panel. It's normally painted in-house. So the paint, not press, the painting booth is booked for 2 weeks. So Epicor suggests that the subcontracting the painting operation to meet the delivery. So let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that setup, and we'll have to have a look at the method as well. Okay, so we're looking at manufacturer to subcontract. And what I'll show you, first of all, is just the revisions. So you can see that I have a normal revision that'll be used. This is the normal method manufacturer revision that will be used for the in-house. And then there's an alternative method that's been set up, and that is the subcontract method. Just having a quick look at the method tracker. We can have a quick look at that, and then we'll look at the jobs as well that have been created. Okay. Amazing. So this is the standard. This is the standard one. So you've got the paint, and that's paint in-house. It's an internal operation. And whereas the subcontract, you can see that the subcontract is actually painting via a subcontractor. So operation 30, instead of doing it in-house, so it'll be cut, it'll be drilled, then it'll go outside to get painted by our supplier, who is RF Paint. So it'll change the manufacturing. So let's have a look at our time phase now. And you won't see much actually from the time phase, but let's just have a quick look. So all we're seeing from the time phase is that there's 2 jobs created. We can't see how it's engineered at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll go have a look at the jobs. So these are the jobs that are all related to, again, the parts that we're looking at. So we've got here manufacturing to subcontract. These are our 2 jobs that have been created. One method is in-house and one is external. So we'll have a look. This one here, 28th to 11th, well, that's far enough in the future, and we can manufacture that. So if we have a look at that job, have a look, job entry. So if we have a look at that job, it should have used the method. It will have used the method. It will have used the in-house method, which, it'll be in-house paint. So it'll be an in-house resource group. Okay, so let's have a look at our assembly. So let's have a look at our operations. And you can see it says paint here. So we've got cut, drill, paint. And that is a standard operation, and it's in an internal resource group. So it's going to be manufactured in-house. Looking at the other one, so this one here is the 20th of the 10th. So that's an urgent requirement. The urgent planning would have kicked in. The alternate method would have got kicked in, which we'll have a look at the part in a second as well. And so our method should reflect that as well. So the operation 30 should now be paint sub, which indicates that it's gone to, it'll be going to a subcontractor. Okay, so there it is. It's got a different symbol as well, which means that it's a subcontract. Now that's a paint sub. And it'll be going to RF Paint. So it is doing exactly as expected. We'll just get rid of those few of those. Job. Okay, so let's come back to the part because we haven't really had a good look at this. So manufacturing. So we've had a look at the revision. What we haven't done is we haven't had a look at the setup of the planning. So we'll go into the site, go into the site, come into planning. So with this one, you can see it's a lead time of 15. And so it is a manufactured part. This is normally a manufactured part. It's urgent planning is manufacturing as well, but it's got an alternative method of manufacture, and that's subcontract. Okay, so it'll use the standard method of manufacture, but if it's urgent planning kicks in, it'll use the subcontract one, which we've just gone through. Okay, and let's look at our last scenario now. Oh, so yeah, that's just showing you the what we just saw with the 2 different method of manufacturers, but I'll put it on just the one slide. So you can see this is the standard one that's used, and this is the alternative subcontract. The operation 30 has changed. So moving on to the last one. Okay, so this one here is a purchase part with in-house manufacturing backup. So it's normally purchased from a supplier. If you can't meet the lead time, Epicor is going to switch it to an in-house manufacturing. So we'll have a look at the setup. Look, the example we're using, it's a plastic component. It's usually purchased. Supplier lead times out there, it's in 4 weeks, but the customer needs it in 3 days. So Epicor suggests internal manufacturing because we've got available tooling to do it. So we've set up the method of manufacture so we can do it in-house. So let's have a look at the setup. Manufacturing to purchase. Okay, so this one here, there is going to be a interesting thing. Like, all right, from the beginning, you can see, and you would have been able to see it in all of them. If you go back from the video, you can check it. But yeah, it is a purchase part there. So the type is purchased. let's go to the site and let's go here. The site. Let's go to planning. So it is a purchase part. We just verified that. We got a 20, we got 4 weeks. It's 20-day lead time. Usually get it from the primary supplier. Otherwise, it is a manufactured. So the urgent planning will kick in if it's less than 20 days, and it will suggest to manufacture it using the urgent alternative method. I will say one thing here, that it requires an alternate method. So even though that this isn't usually isn't usually manufactured unless it's urgent planning, you need to have a standard revision and also a alternate method, because you can only select alternate methods here. So it has to be an alternate method. So let's have a look at the time phase for this one. So purchase to manufacturing. Right, so with this one, we said that usually it's purchased, and sure enough, we can see on the 28th of the 11th, which is way out in the future, no problem. Vendor can actually send us the part. So it is going to be purchased, and there's a suggestion to go buy it from the said the vendor that was set up, and we can have a look at that in the PO suggestions. But this one here, it's required on the 20th of the 10th. We're going to start manufacturing it tomorrow. So it has, because it violates the lead time, it's become a job. So purchase by default, normally, manufactured because it's required within the lead time. So that's what it's exactly done. It's created a job to manufacture it in-house. So just having a look at the PO suggestions. Purchased to manufactured. So there is the purchased to manufactured. So the one that's out on the 28th of the 11th, there's a PO suggestion to do it then. There's the detail. And yeah, basically you would process this suggestion and it would become a purchase order. And looking at the job entry, which is 27. So this is the urgent supply, which has become a manufacturing type. This is a job that's been created. It hasn't been firmed or anything yet, but MRP has brought in the method of manufacture that we said was to use the alternative method of manufacture. And it's just simply, machine the plastic, and that's it. So that's our four scenarios. I've done the same thing as I did before. If you've got any questions, can you type it in the question thing, in the question box, and we can have a look at those questions. So this is just a summary. Unlocking urgent supply flexibility in Epicor. So the key takeaways: Epicor's planning parameters now have offered expanded versatility for urgent supply decisions. The system can be dynamically switched between primary and urgent suppliers, manufacturing and purchasing, manufacturing methods to alternative methods. That was the in-house to subcontract. Purchasing and manufacturing. Let's go over the 4 scenarios that we did. Why it matters. Look, it supports faster response times to customer demands. Reduces manual intervention in supply decision, and it enhances resilience in the supply chain planning. So these are just a good tool set to have. The fact that you can actually if you know if you know what you want to do with the lead time and the urgent so with the urgent supply, you can use these methods to get our MRP to make the decision for you intelligently, and sort of like make it happen without having to intervene. They are suggestions, so just that was an MRP suggestion for the jobs, unfirmed. So if you wanted to change that, you could still change that and amend your method, and the purchase, again, it's a purchase suggestion. So like for the first one where it's primary and urgent suppliers, you might have your urgent supplier because it's a less lead time. It might actually cost you a little bit more, but you make a phone call and the primary goes, yeah, I've got some in stock. Well, then you can just override that purchase order suggestion and get it from a primary. But obviously Epicor will function as you configure it. Okay. So is there any questions? Give that a second. Well, waiting on that. Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you coming and spending your time. Hopefully you've learned something. I mean, this particular feature that came in 2025.1, I really locked in on because it was like, wow, that they've taken it to a next step. That gives me so much flexibility from a manufacturing perspective, and I really did love it. So hopefully you got something out of it too. All right, there doesn't appear to be any questions. So look, again, thanks guys for coming along. Appreciate your support. See you next time. Have a great day.